David, you know me. We talked about the second half turnaround there. I mean, it was interesting, actually. He said we talked about how badly we've started the second half in some games. They didn't today, did they? Right?
No, they came right out. I expected them to do that. I said that at half-time. I expect them to come down to the hill and really go after Manchester United, and that's what they did. And there's no doubt that they've looked at that Manchester United team and thought, and I said it to Dan himself, that if they get their press right, if they're aggressive in their pressing, which they really are, because everyone does their shift, and if there goes a team, they'll get success from that, from the way Amorim wants his team to play is set up for Newcastle to go after, particularly here at St James's Park. They're roared on by the crowd, and Man United kept insisting on playing out, and the goalkeeper, and you think it's only going to be a matter of time before they get one. They pressed him in the first half. If they do it right, they'll get chances, and that's exactly what happened.
And that's getting back to your point right at the top of the show, that there seems to be no budging from that plan, that objective, from a Manchester United point of view.
That's what the manager wants to do. Whether it's right or wrong, that's what he's doing. For me, you have to find a way to the players that you've got to get results, and they're not doing that. They keep insisting they'll play in a certain way. I don't believe the players are capable of doing it. It's quite obvious. People can see that. You can see it with your own eyes. But there's got to be a turning point. Listen, it's Man United. You can't keep getting beat. You can't keep getting beat against every single team. Newcastle are a good team, but they're getting beat against bad teams as well doing that way. So you come up against a good team like Newcastle in form, with the pace and the power that they've got. There's only one result, and that's what they got today.
I think Nicky is too nice, because with his former club, I will emphasize the fact that there's a lack of individual quality in a team like that. You know, I think when you wear a jersey like the one of Manchester United, you need to respect that. You need to have this kind of respect. And when you see a game like that, you don't see any kind of respect. They wear the Manchester United shirt like any other shirt. They don't understand the history behind the club, the players who really sweat for this club. And I think it's unacceptable. For me, it's not acceptable to see a performance like that, honestly.
What I would say about that is, that's not Ruben Amorim's fault. He's inherited that problem, right? What I would say is that the team are worse now than when he took over. Because,
why is that?
Because it seems to me, he's asking them to do things which clearly they can't do. Now, I'm on the understanding that it's a coach's job to make players and individuals and the team better. At the minute, he's asking them to continue to play out from the back. He's got a goalkeeper that can't play out from the back, constantly makes errors. He's got players who haven't got the energy in midfield to get up and down.
Alan.
But that's not his. He's inherited that problem. The manager,
no,
and I know that he knows it's a very, very difficult, tough job, and it's going to take a long time to get Man United anywhere near where they have been in previous years. But they keep on making the same errors, and we looked at this. What I would say is, we looked at the team today when it was announced, and we all expected to see exactly what we saw, particularly in the second half. They were bullied in midfield, they didn't have enough legs in midfield, and they keep on trying to play out from the back when they're clearly not good enough.
They've now been beaten 14 times in this Premier League season. Let's get some reaction now here at St James's from the Manchester United manager.
Ruben, clearly another difficult moment for you and a disappointing result. How do you reflect on that 90-plus minutes?
Many mistakes, and they were stronger in the second balls, so they were a better team. But we did a lot of mistakes that can it become harder to win a game, and that's all.
What do you put those mistakes down to at this moment in time? Is there a lack of confidence and perhaps even a lack of belief amongst some of your players at this moment?
It's a little bit of everything. It's hard to point one thing that goes wrong in these moments, but it's really hard to win against these top teams like Newcastle. And when we make mistakes that can help the opponent to score, it's harder. But let's focus on Thursday. It's really important for us.
Were some of the goals you conceded today too easy from your perspective for Newcastle to score?
I think you can see that we can do so much better. So that's it. Let's focus on Thursday. Analyze this game, but all the mistakes that we did today, we cannot do it Thursday.
I can sense the disappointment and perhaps the anger within you at this moment in time. Once again, the criticism will come from outside, from pundits, from media people. Is the belief in your players that you can see that other people can't see? That the criticism will come, lack of running, lack of commitment in key moments. Do you understand that criticism?
I understand it. I don't care. Nothing is worse than lose games. So people can say whatever they want to say, and it's hard to I don't want to defend myself or anything like that, because if you look at our position in the table, says it all. So let's move on. It's really important Thursday, so I don't care what people say. Losing games is the hardest part by far from this job. So again, let's focus on Thursday.
How big then is Thursday? It was big before today. How big does it become now for Manchester United as a whole? Not just you, not just the players.
No, of course, it's really important. We know that we have a chance to get Champions League, but let's focus stage by stage. We have an important game on Thursday. It's going to be really, really hard, but we need to focus on that and then go to the next stage.
What do you do to pick your players up, and whatever players you choose to put out there on Thursday? What do you do to instill the belief that you will need to go further in that competition in the hope of still getting Champions League football next season?
We had one season a lot like that, with difficult losses, difficult moments. So we are used to get up also. So we can do that Thursday. Let's focus on Thursday. So it's a different game when the ball when the game starts is a different history with our fans. We need to give something to our fans and to go to the next stage.
We spoke about Andre Onana before the game. What's your sense now? Does he come back into the reckoning for Thursday?
Everybody. Again, it's a difficult season. So tomorrow we are going to prepare the next game. He's not forgetting this game, but he's focused on the next one, because in this game after the game we cannot change nothing. So let's focus on the next one.
Ruben, one very final question. You've always been very open and honest with us about the task you face here and the difficulties you've faced. But is that task a bigger task now, where you find yourselves and looking forward, and how big, in your opinion, is it to change the fortunes of this club?
We already talked about that. Let's focus on game by game. So if you think in all the pictures, sometimes it's really hard to face all the problems at the same time. Our biggest problem is the game on Thursday. Let's focus on that.
When they were in 12th, they're now in 14th at the end of pretty much the end of this round of fixtures. Have you seen positives from Ruben Amorim's time at Man United?
Not at the moment. You mentioned there nobody likes to lose games. Of course not, but sometimes it's the way you lose. It's the way they give up some of the goals in the second half. Obviously some mistakes from players, losing possession. Obviously you knew Newcastle were going to put you under pressure, obviously. So that's the big hang-up you'd have. They've lost 14 league games, and they lost 14 last season. So that's why you have to point the finger at this group of players. No, the only defence I have, obviously, for a lot of the players, is a lot of them are still new to the Premier League. And the manager's new to the Premier League. I think the manager, if you spoke to him, I think he's scratching his head. He's frustrated in that interview, of course. He wants to focus on the next game, but you also have to reflect on the game today. That's where we're at. I bet you he can't believe how bad the United team is. I bet he obviously can't say that, and he's talking about recruiting this summer. But this group of players, the mistakes they're making, I mentioned at the end of the game, they can't seem to get around the pitch. There's no power in the team. Some of the players who can run, I think there's some players who can run, but they don't want to run. That's another worry. Some of the goals they gave up, you got experience right back, just letting somebody run by him. Now that's the bit I would be frustrated with. But I think the Premiership has caught this manager and his coaching staff out. Even his first game where we covered was down at Ipswich. And Ipswich drew with him, and Ipswich probably could have won it near the end. And I bet you was thinking, this is tough. And I know people do their homework, and these coaches and staff and obviously players do the homework before they go to a club. But I think he's gone in there, and I think he's been shocked at how bad this group of players are.
But how is there that gap between what the analysts will have done from his side and from Manchester United's side.
Kelly, the only thing I'd say, I still think you don't know a group of players or their qualities until you actually get in the door and start working with them. Of course, you're on the outside looking in, and you do your little bit of homework. Of course, you do. You look at players, and you'll have a bit of pride and ego to think, I can improve these players, or I can make them better. That's a manager's job. And they brought in some players, but I think over the last couple of years, and before obviously this manager came in, I'm not putting it all on him, a lot of the recruitment was bringing players in who've never played in the Premier League. And I think it seems to have cut a lot of them out. They can't seem to cope with the demands, the physical side of the game. The lack of goals is a huge problem for Man United, because usually you look at Man United over the years and think, well, there'll be some sort of entertainment, they'll score goals, they'll get at him. But with 15, 20 minutes ago, this game was over. United fans must be looking, scratching their heads going, this game is over. There's no way we're getting back in this. We've only scored the one goal. We don't score many. If anything, it was going to how many you concede. And then we took the players' decision-making. We have a goalkeeper coming in today. It's difficult to get up to speed for a goalkeeper, particularly making saves. But in terms of playing out from the back and taking chances, to me, that's just madness. That's just common sense. That's just your football knowledge. Why take chance at Newcastle where you're under the cosh? You're trying to chip balls into the middle of the park. That's where you have to look at the players and go, look, lads, give us a bit of a chance. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with losing football matches. The great teams lose football matches, but sometimes it's the way you lose it. And that second half, particularly from United, nowhere near good enough. It's easy for a manager to say, let's focus on Thursday. No, you have to look at today. This group of players, bit of fight, bit of spirit. They're lacking in quality, they're lacking pace, they're lacking power. But my goodness, show some fight. They didn't do that enough in the second half.
Just to pick up on the point that you're making about the players, because when Amorim came in, he came in with a great reputation of not just dealing with young players and developing them, but also of kind of older players where he was reinventing them or giving them a new lease of life. And it was widely praised for his tactical prowess. There was a lot said about the system that he wanted to play and questions asked as to whether Man United players would be able to do that. If he's not getting the message across, does that say something about the player's ability to take on instruction?
A bit of both. I think there's nothing wrong with a manager having his set ways and his philosophy, shall we say. But I played under some managers, but also you have to adapt. If you're working with a group of players and if you're constantly losing football matches, I know he's hanging his hat on Thursday's game against Leon, and he's thinking that'll get him out of jail really for the club getting the Champions League. But if you're losing week in, week out, or losing 14 league matches and there's still a few to go, you must sit with your staff and say to yourself, listen, it's well and good again having your mindset, but someone must say, but can we tweak it? Can we change it a little bit? Because if you keep getting beaten, and again, it's on the back of last season, obviously that's not all in this manager, then something's wrong. The players can't cope with it. There's players playing for Man United today. I go back to Eriksen. United's midfield, they're not mobile. They can't go around the pitch. Newcastle's midfield was more powerful. They were stronger. They were getting stronger as the game was going on. But Eriksen should have left Man United maybe 1 or 2. United are still going back to the players who I think are a major problem. Are these good players? I think some of them are. But are they good enough for Man United? Absolutely not. And sometimes, actually, that's not on the players. That's on the club for throwing them in there. You're throwing young lads into there. You're bringing Shaw back into the group, and you're hoping 1 or 2 of these senior players will help. But the signs are, again, I go back, we done the game last week. He
wants to focus on Thursday. We touched on that. But do you think, Nicky, now, with the time he's been at the club, from looking from the outside in Lisbon, that he thinks this is much bigger once he's got inside?
Yeah,
from the
I
outside.
think it's obviously more of a realisation after he's been here for now 6 months plus, and he knows how tough the job's going to be now, and he's got to attract players that are going to make the squad and the team better. He's got to get rid of players that he doesn't want, which is going to be difficult as well. He's under contract, so he's got a massive job, absolutely huge job. But one thing he does, he always comes up and fronts up, to be fair to him, and hopefully he's going to at least try and get it right on Thursday. I can't emphasise how big that game is for the football club, because if you think about getting into Champions League, you attract better players, you get a bigger budget, and it'll be a lot easier for him if he's in the Champions League.
As he's just said, he wants to forget about today and move on to Thursday. We understand that. But on the back of another damaging defeat, I mean, you can't just forget about that going into a big European tie.
I don't think he's forgetting about it. I think he doesn't want to speak about it. He's obviously down, he's angry, he's disappointed. He'll definitely be not forgetting about that. He'll be analysing that with his staff, I would imagine, and it'll be sitting down with the players. He'd have to, after that performance, you have to sit down with him and say, this is wrong, it's not acceptable, and work a way out of playing. That's going to get them results, because at the minute, how they are playing isn't getting them results, it's fact.
If you're playing for Leon at the moment, are you as fearless going to Old Trafford as you?
Watching the game today, it's always fearless to go and play at Old Trafford. no matter what you do, or doesn't matter the team you're facing, it's a challenge to play there. But
it's not the challenge it was when you were playing here, though.
No,
That's
it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same challenge. But I'm thinking about Lyon. They got a huge task also in front of them. And, for Amorim, it's going to be, as you said, complicated. But this game, next Thursday, is crucial and is vital for Man United and also for Lyon. So we'll see what happens.
And is it unthinkable for United not to be in Europe, to finish in the bottom half of the table, not have that budget that you're talking about? It's just going to make his challenge even greater, isn't it?
It'll make it very, very hard, but it's not unthinkable. You get your rewards from what you put into a season, and at the minute they're not doing well enough. That's why they're at that table, they're positioned behind the table, and it's basically all their eggs in one basket for the game on Thursday. And if they win that, they then got to go and win the next one, so it's a long way off. It's just the reality that we're at is it's the only thing that they can hope for, is try and get a good result Thursday and get some sort of feel-good factor back into that football club, because at the minute they must be so low.
Okay, on that point we can get some Manchester United reaction. Here is the captain, Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno, that was a tough 90 minutes. What's your verdict?
No, we gave some goals away. We were good in the first half. We were in the game. We had very good moments in the first half. I think second half we didn't play as much as we could, because whenever we tried to play, we could break their lines and find the gaps and spaces. Obviously, with the man marking of them, we just needed to play around and be supportive. Third man run. We didn't did that well enough. We gave some goals away. Obviously, I think the goals, almost all of goals, comes from our mistakes.
Yeah, those last two in particular, those individual errors, that makes it even harder to get back in the game, doesn't it, when you make those sort of mistakes?
Yeah, but even the first one is a mistake by me when I lose the ball in that position where I should have holded the ball. Obviously, comes a lot of things after, but it doesn't matter. We're not here to point anyone out. Everyone has their own responsibility, but as a team we have the responsibility of the result today, but we have to look ahead and look forward to the next game.
Obviously the manager made changes. One of those was in goal. I guess it was half an eye on Thursday for everyone today as well. Do you feel that was in your performance, the fact that Thursday is so important for the team?
No, that's not an excuse. That doesn't matter. Everyone that is in this team needs to be prepared to play at every moment. The ones that played today was the decision by the manager by doing that, giving some fresh legs to the team to play against Newcastle. We know that they like to press high. We had a different view of the game. But that's nothing to do with the next game. We have to focus game by game, and we wanted to win this game today. Obviously, knowing that the Thursday one is very important for us, and I think together with the fans, we're gonna create something special on Thursday to win the game.
It's the Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes, who we actually saw substituted today, which is a rarity. Of course, we know how durable he is and how many of the minutes, but he didn't look particularly impressed. We thought that was with an eye on Thursday as well. But Nicky, away to our right-hand side, up there, the away fans where they're housed here at St James's Park, they didn't stop singing. They've made a long journey. They've paid good money, and they keep hearing, whether it's from their captain or anybody else, just apologies after defeats like this.
Yeah. It's easy to sit there and talk and apologise, but for me, if you go on a football pitch, you have to do something about it. I mean, I didn't expect Man United to come in and win. I didn't expect that at all. Newcastle are a better team, better individuals, more energetic, more power, more pace. And I don't know how they go on a football pitch and allow it to happen. Getting beat 4-1 can happen. I got beat here against the guys 5-1. It can happen. But allowing it to happen is something. I didn't see one tackle. I didn't see one bit of aggression. I didn't see somebody go head to head with someone. I'm not saying you want violence or anything, but you got to at least go and show that we're not going to accept this lying down. And they just lay down and let them get beat so easy.
And why are they so easy to play against?
Because they've got no power, they've got no pace, and it's sad to see. You see Eriksen, who was a top player, now he can't move, can't run. He gets run off pretty quickly, very easily from players that aren't actually the best athletes, but they're looking like so good against Man United. And the midfield of Newcastle, it's so powerful.
I know that's your area of the pitch, and you're impressed with Newcastle, and we'll come to that and we'll show the goals in a moment. Eriksen, you're right, he's at the end of his career. What about £50 million on Manuel Ugarte? Where are you with that?
I don't see it. I see a player that's just a very average player passing the ball backwards and sideways all the time. And for me, you have to be a lot more than that for that price. But without just digging out individuals, as a team collectively, they've allowed Newcastle to do what they want on a football pitch. They've allowed it, and like I say, that can happen here. But for Man United fans looking at that on a TV or in the stands, if you're letting them do that and not getting a hand on it, you've got to do something more to that from a football club as big as Man United. And I sit there next to these two and I'm going, someone do something, go and kick someone, go and look like you care, go and look like you're not going to allow it to happen. I didn't see it.
Very difficult to do as well, all of that, when you're really struggling in centre-forward positions. And I've said it before, that I feel sorry for Højlund. Xerxes not a centre-forward, because constantly when the ball's going up there, they're not strong enough or perhaps even good enough to actually hold the ball, and then at least you've got some sort of platform to build on if you've got someone to hold the ball up, and then players can run off. But I think that's one of the bigger problems of Man United is the recruitment. They are where they are. It's a very difficult position, and it's going to be a long road until they get anywhere near where they want to do. And that wasn't their season today in terms of the league. The league's gone this year. It's a disaster. It's a write-off. Thursday is their season in the Europa League.
Yeah, you say it's a write-off, and as I mentioned earlier on, whatever happens from now on in, this will be the lowest Premier League points tally ever in Manchester United's history, even if they win every single game between now and the end of the season. I mean, that's the starting point, Nicky, where they've got to try and come back from. It's an all-time low in Premier League history.
It is, yeah, but for me, I'm not, like Al said, I'm not looking at the league, I'm not looking at the table, I'm not looking at where they're going to be. They're not going to get relegated, they're not going to win or get in the Champions League without winning the Europa League. For me, it's just walking football. It's just passing and passive, pass slow, no energy. There's no even enthusiasm to go and get up the pitch to try and win. They played most of the second half, on the edge of their box, passing 3-yard passes, and it's just boring to watch.
I think on two occasions, first half, Xerxes had that shot where it was really pinged in, the little touch in the turn once, and the goal that they scored. Other than that, I can't remember them causing Newcastle too many problems at all, and that was because of the high energy that Newcastle had, because of the ability that they've got in their team. And at the minute, Man United are miles behind. And unfortunately, that's a reality of it.
But whereas as top-class players, when do they realise with their own brains, we can't pass the ball on the edge of our box, because we're going to get goals going to go against us. Clip some balls in behind, get up the pitch, at least try and play in the right areas. They don't even do that, and it's like someone's got to have a bit of nous football knowledge on the pitch to know, lads, we kind of got to stop doing this. Clip some in the channels, get up the pitch and start playing the right areas of the pitch. They don't even do that, and you can't blame the manager for that. The manager's on the edge of the pitch here with the 52,000, you can't hear everything, so someone's got to take control of the game and go, right, get up the pitch, play in the right areas, and try and play football in the middle thirds, attacking thirds, not on the edge of your box. They're not good enough to do it, they can't do it, and they keep doing it.
And does that come back to just no leadership out there?
No leadership, no one really nous. No, someone's got to grab all. I know, play with Al, I didn't play with David, unfortunately, but I know they would say, get up the pitch, lads, what are we doing on the edge of our box, giving the ball away? It's too easy for them to do.
It is also, you create things from midfield, towards, the last third of the pitch, but in a way that you can feel the quality, you can feel that the construction of the game is made with ability, with skills, technique, and you can see that the players, they comprehend the game. I'm sorry to say, I'm not coming often to England to watch games like that, but I saw a Newcastle team that they were conquering the stadium, every single balls, and you have Manchester United, they play on the back foot all the time. They know creativity, they try, but you see that there's a limit, and this limit, Manchester United used to have no limit in the creation. And now this limit is there because I think it's a lack of quality. We're not saying enough about that because it's the team effort is something. The will in the game is something. But individually, you need to have the quality. You need to have the players to understand the game. And it seems to me that you don't have these sort of players right now.
Lindelof's been at the club for 9 years. He's allowing the people to put pressure on the back four and the goalkeeper by continuing to do the same things. Surely, God, 9 years, he's a man, been here 9 years, not talking about a kid we just signed. Get the ball in the right areas of the pitch, get up the pitch. There's nothing wrong with clipping a few balls down the channels and getting up the pitch. but they sat on the edge of the box. 5-6 yard passes, it's ridiculous.
You have to be extremely good coming to St James's Park and having the belief that if you're going to constantly get the ball from the goalkeeper and try and pass it through, as Man United did today, and you're very good at it and very confident at it. Man United are not, unfortunately, and they played right into Newcastle's hands.